Hello, folks.
You didn't clap.
Are we keeping this? Are we rolling? Are we rolling? Let's roll.
It's Rusty and Heather Bryant here with the Redeemed Marriage Podcast. I should totally do that from now on.
Usually I start and I do a little clap so she knows that we're starting. But we had a little technical difficulty at the beginning.
And I was still fixing my hair.
It's okay. I was ready. I was rolling into this thing because I'm excited. I'm excited because here we are doing a podcast. You know, there's certain days when you're like, is it smart to do a podcast today? This might be one of those.
This might be one of them.
But that's okay. So let's jump in because I think
now everybody's wondering why it's not a good day to do a podcast. It's a good day to do a podcast.
Every day's a good day to do a podcast.
This is just, let's let them into our life a little bit. This season is nuts.
Well, that's what our podcast is going to be about today. See,
okay.
Heather has no idea. See, this is the thing. We know each other well enough where I'm like, Heather does not have the mental capacity today to think about anything really deep.
That's right.
Or to plan anything. And so I just said, hey, you trust me, right? Let's go.
Let's go. And I was fixing to...
Yeah, you were going, so I guess this is what we're supposed to be doing. Well, so really, I think that people that listen to us, there's a lot of normal people out there, and they have lives that are like ours, probably, that are very chaotic. And so, I mean, I know that you're listening to this, and you may not be coming to us every day or once a week, and you may not be coming because you have this big, huge thing. You might be. There's plenty of you out there that you find us because of some crisis in your marriage, and you're looking for hope and help in your journey towards healing and wondering if you even can heal. And so much of that, I mean, we're grateful that you come to us because we have walked that journey. Yeah. But then there's also there's so many of you that listen because you just want to hear about life and you want some encouragement just in normal everyday life. And I think that a lot of you are living lives of chaos. And we are. We tend to do that regularly, but sometimes it's just like seasons of chaos are really, really overwhelming.
Yep.
And so
and they're just like in your face.
Yeah.
You know, like this is happening.
Well, I think about back to the beginning of the year, and we were traveling a lot. We were gone. At one point, we were gone for almost a month off and on, but for just about an entire month. We were speaking lots of places. We had some intensives. We had a retreat. And so we were gone a lot. And that felt chaotic just because we were out of rhythm and out of sorts. And I think that the last few weeks have been really refreshing in a lot of ways because we haven't been traveling.
Yeah.
Also, even our marriage coaching, which is usually just about every night of the week, a couple of sessions a night, each night of the week. And that has slowed down a little bit over the last couple of weeks because we were trying to wrap up so many of our coaching sessions before our summer break. And so just tapered off a little bit. And so I feel like, and maybe this is why. Maybe God was saying, you guys need a little
Hold
bit of
a
break. Yeah, but the rest of our life feels really chaotic right now. And so I just want us to speak into that today because the real life takes over sometimes. And you guys that are listening, you have lives that you may listen to ours. I mean, we'll let you in. This is not a pity party. This is not, feel sorry for Rusty and Heather or anything like that. It's just we want to welcome you into, some of what our chaos feels like because I don't want anybody to get this false impression that like the Bryant family, the Rusty and Heather, things just run smoothly because we're marriage coaches and we know how to do it. I think the reason why we're able to speak into it, though, is because we handle this relationship as far as our marriage, even in the chaos. I think that we can speak into how we handle that. And so that's kind of where I wanted to go today. I thought we could just talk a little bit about chaos and our chaos, and then really give some ideas and some suggestions and advice on how we handle the seasons of chaos so that it doesn't come between us.
Right.
And how we navigate that together. And so for you guys that are just living the normal chaotic life, but you don't want it to interfere with your marriage, this is for you today. So some of the stuff, I mean, if you want to jump in and tell some of the things that are going on in life, go right ahead.
Well, what I was going to say at the beginning was we have just, like, we're recording this on a Sunday. You're listening to it on a Monday, maybe. And on this coming up Friday, Logan comes home from college. And he's just going to be here for just a few weeks. And then he's headed to Costa Rica to spend a majority of his summer. So we'll have him for a little while. So he comes home Friday.
He's doing some mission work, by the way. Yeah. So some of you are going, oh, sure would be nice. Let's go surfing for the summer.
Mission work in Costa Rica where they don't have hot water. Okay, then, which is why Mama's not going to visit. Then 2 weeks. So 1 week Logan comes home, and 2 week Luke moves home. So a couple of weeks ago, we moved his fiance Cameron here with us. I mean, not here in our home, but in Clinton. And she got moved into their house, but he has to finish up work there in Charlotte and will get to come home in 2 weeks to start his new job and to get married. And then 3 weeks, so this Friday, Logan, next Friday, Luke, and then 3 Fridays is the actual wedding of Luke and Cameron. And we are so excited to welcome officially that sweet girl into our family. And so, all the wedding planning, because the wedding's going to be in our town, the wedding and the reception, and just trying to make sure we have everything taken care of. Her family is not from here. They're far off. So it's just kind of fallen on us to help plan and do kind of the legwork. And so, that's a little chaotic. Then
a little chaotic,
a lot of chaotic. And then, as y'all know, I'm the librarian, and the last the last 4 weeks and then 2 more, I've been in a regular classroom again, in a regular 3rd grade classroom again, teaching regular classes, because somebody was out on maternity leave. As if any of you are teachers, 3rd grade is a testing grade, a state testing grade, and they needed somebody who'd done it before. So what I knew to be true was that being in the library was a lot less stressful and a lot less constant than being in the classroom, but I didn't realize how much until I was back in there. And it just takes a lot out of me. Like, I get home and I am whipped. And so then trying to do all the, bonus things, like, I knew, like we've talked about before, that I went into the library just months before we started marriage coaching. And we were like, oh, that's God's perfect timing, and I knew that to be true. But until I've done this, I really didn't realize how much of a blessing that was and how perfect God's timing was in that. And so we just, we hit the ground running in the morning, and then on the nights that we have coaching, we're not done until late, and there's no rest for the weary in that. Now, we absolutely love what we do. Matter of fact, we had a couple of days off this past week, and like you said, God was like, yep, store up your energy because here it comes. But on the night that we did have them, it was so good. Like, I felt renewed and revived, and that, it just gives us lots of joy to do that. So don't hear a complaint in there anywhere. Just wanted you to know that things have been a little crazy. And so I think about that along with the fact that your job.
I love how all of a sudden the craziest part of our lives is an afterthought.
It went down a few notches.
It is very much an afterthought right now. But it's not an afterthought. It's
not an afterthought.
It's less chaotic than the other stuff.
Because it feels known. We've done it before. So on May 13th, so Luke's getting married on May 15th, rehearsal dinner on May 14th. On May 13th, the entire Bria team is moving to Clinton for the summer, which they come every summer. So I think that's why it feels less chaotic, because I know what this looks like. I don't know what this other stuff looks like. And so, how many guys are moving here?
20 to live. I mean, there's 30 total players, but 20 are coming from out of town.
Yeah, and we get to be their
all over the
parents
world.
for all summer, and which is why we don't do coaching or intensives or retreats during the summer months of May, June, and July. And so they come here, and we're responsible for them for the whole summer. That's home games, that's away games, that's urban camps, that's feeding them for most of the summer until a cafeteria in our area opens up. So it is just like, without the wedding / me teaching / kids coming home and going to Costa Rica, without all of that, usually that is so chaotic and crazy. But like you said, for some reason now that feels like not as chaotic because of everything else that's going on. So I have, I got a good friend that said she would be in charge of them for the first 2 nights. And
I was
feeding
thinking
them.
about that, and I was like, usually by the time the wedding takes place, which is just 2 days after they've moved in, those players have already been at our house
absolutely
2 or 3 times for meals. And
that's right. We can't do that this year. It's going to be fine. So I'm dumping them off on somebody else that I love and trust, and said, please take them for the first 2 nights. And they're going to do that, and they're going to be fine until we get done with the wedding on Friday, and then we'll be ready to
jump in
with them on Saturday.
Yeah, and so, I mean, you guys, y'all, who knows what you're thinking.
Yeah.
You may be actually...
That's what I was going to say. There are going to be people out there that go, y'all think that's chaotic?
Yeah, right.
Listen to what I'm going through.
Right.
And I do not want to minimize that. Like, there's probably people listening that have health journeys. They're trying to schedule chemos around this and the kids that, like, I get it.
Yeah.
And we don't even have little kids that we're running to baseball and running to soccer or whatever like we used to do. So please do not hear us say that ours is more chaotic. It's not. It's a different chaotic. But we see you and we hear you and we validate the fact that you feel just as chaotic.
That's right. And, and then there's just the little normal things of life that come out too, because this weekend we were home some, but we had to do the wedding stuff yesterday. I mean, we picked up suits and ties and all that kind of stuff. So on top of, I mean, there is the financial chaos that's kind of going on right now. I mean, it's very unusual.
Which just disturbs my heart so much.
What?
Financial chaos.
You don't even, you just ignore it. That's why it's so chaotic to me, because you create the chaos. But, if you've ever been a part of a wedding, there's just things you just don't even think about and expect. And all of a sudden it's just, oh, yeah, don't forget, we got to pay for that. Oh, yeah, don't forget, we got to pay for that. Oh, yeah, that too. Oh, yeah, that too. And so, just like over and over and over. And so it's hard to plan. I'm very much a planner, and it's very hard to plan in these seasons. And so that creates this tension and just this, just adds to the chaos. And then, like yesterday, we were gone for most of the day because we were doing some shopping and other things, trying to get ready for the wedding. And our house is not ready for the beginning of the week. And that's a big deal to you. There's a lot of clothes that need to be washed. There's a lot of dishes in that sink right now. We're going to a party tonight where we have to cook something. That's got to happen. This podcast has to be edited and posted. There's a lot. There's a lot. And so we're just saying chaos is very normal for families and marriages, and there's some seasons that are just more chaotic than others. So when chaos hits your house, how is it handled? And do you handle it well enough to where your marriage comes out unscathed, maybe even stronger? Or is it something that just starts just tearing you apart because you don't handle it well? And so I think that we do a pretty good job. I know that there's moments of frustration and things that come out that, probably shouldn't. But for the most part, we do really well. So I thought for a few minutes we would just give some advice on when chaos hits your season, when your season of chaos hits, how are you going to handle that? And how can you handle it to make sure that you and your spouse stay connected and stay strong and healthy throughout?
That's good.
All right,
ready.
so go.
I love it. You're like, we're going to talk about this. Now you go. You know you have an idea. I would think that the very first thing is to live unselfishly. I hope I didn't steal yours. Or it may have been one that you didn't think of. You're welcome.
Maybe I don't have any. I'm going to think of them as we go.
That's not true. I would think live unselfishly because I think that it's really easy in a season of chaos to get into what about me? And when things start lacking, because let's be honest, we usually are really good at staying on top of the clothes. Well, for one, there's only 2 of us right now. And, so you look at things like that, or dinner's getting fixed, or, oh, I didn't have time to work out, or whatever. And you look at it and you go, well, those things are all affecting me. I couldn't find my socks. I didn't get we didn't have time to fix a cooked meal, and now I have to eat out. Just all of those things that are, how are they affecting me? And I have to make a conscious decision to word it as, how is that affecting us? How is that affecting him? And not just, how is it affecting me? So trying to live unselfishly and really serving the other person in the chaos. And, I also think that depending on what the chaos is surrounding, if the chaos is surrounding me, let's go back to when I went through chemo and that hard season, you served me incredibly well. People may be thinking, oh, well, of course he did. You were sick, but you were serving me selfishly. Selflessly in that season. And you never thought about, what about you? It was all, how can I serve her well in this? Also the same. And I'm just giving it my examples, but because they're the examples that I remember. Also when, having a new baby in the house, you always were like, how can I help you? How can I make this better for you? Because in those seasons, I was feeling the chaos more than you were. So it's, who is the chaos affecting the most, and how can you serve each other well? When I look back into other chaotic seasons, just the boys going in different directions for soccer. And it was, you take this kid, I take this kid. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we had to, you take one and I take one. And it was just a lot of communicating in that. But I just always remember you living very unselfishly in those seasons.
Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I thought about, probably one of the top things, is just being a team in everything, to make sure that team bond doesn't get broken or torn in different directions, but just understanding that we're gonna tackle the chaos together, and we're gonna make sure that we're on the same page, that that even if we're talking about something in front of other people, that we're not contradicting each other or conflict with each other.
And that's important in front of the kids too. Mm-hmm. When we had little ones, we had to make sure we were on the same page before we talked about things in front of them, so that they could see agreement.
Yeah, and just understanding that your chaos, it might be your chaos, but it's my chaos too, because we're a team. So it's not ignoring what one person may be going through, or even keeping score of, well, my chaos is worse than yours, or what I'm going through is harder than what you're going through, because you're just in it together. And so, I think about just even you coming home from work these last 4 weeks, it's been harder. And, I could just be like, well, that's you, that's your problem and your issue. But what can I do, to do so that we can fight this together and work through this and navigate this together? So it's just always being a team together, being on the same page. Another thing that, let's see, I thought of 3, and now only that was one. So now I got to come up with the other two, and I've kind of lost them.
Yeah. Well, and on top of that, we're having more technical difficulties with the computer. I'm telling you, that thing keeps messing up.
No, it's fine. So let's see. I've kind of really just gotten really distracted thinking about the whole teamwork thing, I guess. I know another thing was, and this really goes back to what we talked about last week, when we talked about God's faithfulness showing up over and over again. And I think that's a big part too, is just that in those seasons of chaos that we do just take moments to kind of breathe a little bit and to look back and go, oh yeah, I remember other seasons of chaos. And to be real honest, you can look at these things that are coming up, and we could flippantly go, man, this is hard. Like, this is some of the hardest stuff we've ever walked. But it's not. It's not. There's been seasons. I mean, these are, and to be real honest, all of this stuff, this chaos, it's good chaos.
Sure.
It's wonderful things, and it's stuff that we're excited about. It's just different, and it makes life a little bit more challenging. But we've had way bigger challenges in our marriage and in our lives and the things that we've journeyed through. And to look back at those and go, you know what? God was faithful. And so we don't want to miss the joy and, even the happiness that comes along with these seasons of chaos. And and for those of you that are, you have the younger kids, and, you think about, I mean, I know it is hard, especially when you have multiple kids and you're, like you said, going in all these different directions, but you don't want to look back and go, man, we wished that away because we were, it was so busy, and the chaos of it all made us want to wish that it was over. And then when it is over, it's like, whoa, I sure wish we had some of those moments back. And so the same with this, there's only going to be one wedding of our oldest child, there's going to be another one, hopefully pretty soon with our younger one too. But I mean, there's going to be two weddings that we're going to have to.
Right. And that's it.
Yeah. And so we don't want to wish, and we're not wishing them away, but we don't want to be so overwhelmed with everything that's happening that we don't enjoy the journey and what's going on.
Right. And I think that that people have a tendency to do that a lot. I know I did until I realized it. And it took one person saying, hey, you're wishing each thing away, and you're going to end up wishing your life away. And, and this goes back to like when I was in high school, you could think, oh, if I could just get through high school and get to college. Okay. And then if I could just get through college and get a job, if I could just get married, if we could just have children, then you get so far down the line and you're like, all of that, I just was wanting the next thing. And so it's really being present in where you are. And, you were talking about seeing the faithfulness of God and remembering the faithfulness of God, that in our seasons of chaos that we can look back and say, he was faithful. And so he is too going to be faithful in this and give us everything that we need, even in this season. And I think you battle that in the daily by looking at his faithfulness, yes, but also battling the chaos with gratitude. Just in, like, I was just reminding our oldest this morning, because he's so ready, Luke's so ready to be home and to be in this season of marriage. And he doesn't like being so far away from everybody that he knows and loves. And so with that being said, I was just, buddy, remember, like, sit in the gratitude of, I know you're going to church this morning by yourself, but as you go to church, worship him. Worship the God that has brought you through so many seasons and is now fixing to usher you into a new season of just blessing upon blessing upon blessing. And so with that being said, I think that we can fight chaos with remembering his faithfulness, and also just seasons of and thoughts of gratitude.
Okay, I did think of my third thing.
I'm
that's
so glad.
Really good. And this is a big one and very practical. Expectations. Like, really talk about expectations. And maybe if you're not the one that's necessarily sharing expectations with your spouse, you need to be consistently asking, what are your expectations? So, perfect example of this, I'm looking at my watch real quick. So we have 3.5 hours until we have to be somewhere tonight. Okay, real world. So, all right, we got to be somewhere in 3.5 hours. And there's a lot to be done with the podcast, get the podcast out and ready. I'm the only one that can do that.
Right.
I mean, you could, but it may take you 6 weeks to get this one podcast out because you would have to learn how to do it all. So that's me. That falls on me. But we have to cook something for this little party shindig thing that we're going to. And the house is a disaster.
Yep.
And so
I wish that y'all could see
what
the
a disaster I know.
means.
And that's part of that is honestly, that's part of the chaos of our life, is that there's an expectation that this house stays really put together. And I don't know that it's an expectation. It just you operate better in that.
So I guess it is an expectation.
It is because I know that when it starts not meeting your standard, you change.
I just, as starting a new week, I like to be ready for the new week. Like, by what that means is caught up on clothes, like the house, everything's in its home, and the grocery has been done, and we're ready to start a new week. I'm definitely not the only woman in the world that feels that.
No. But I'm just saying, when it doesn't get like that, when we have conversations, they just start talking like this sometimes. I'm just kidding.
So mean.
No, it's really not that bad. And you
was
really,
that your evil voice?
Yeah, it was kind of demonic.
Like it.
But
scary.
But you don't really. It's just like, I can tell something shifts, and a lot of the times it's like you kind of look around, but you don't really do anything about it, because it's like, this is too much. It's too much. And so I'm going to just wait and see if something just magically happens. And so anyway, over the last 2 days, we have let it build up. So what's literally going to happen when we walk down here, I'm going to say to you, okay, this is the amount of time I need to work on the podcast. Do I need to do that now, or do you want me to help with getting this house back in order first? I just have to have. But those are the kind of conversations you have to have, because if not, if I just walk downstairs and I just go out on the back porch to start put my headphones in and start working on the podcast, that may be what you actually want me to do. But if I haven't asked you, you might start doing the dishes and the laundry, and the whole time thinking, he's just out there sitting on the back porch and he's working on stuff, and we've got all this stuff in the house that needs to be. And you're not mean, but I do think
frustration could build.
Absolutely. And so,
for sure.
And so by me asking you and you saying, no, I would rather, I don't know what you're going to say, but if you say, no, I'd rather you go knock that out first, then I can walk out there and I can work in peace, and I can know that I have given you the opportunity to speak something different. So if you're not happy about that, that's because you didn't tell me what your expectations were.
And there may have been a time where I didn't, but I'm really good at doing that now. It's like, yeah, let's talk about exactly what this afternoon needs to look like. And it just keeps everybody happy, because it is, okay, I hear that you're willing to help me. It's not like you're saying, go wash the clothes, go cook, and put everything back in its home, and I'm going to do the podcast. That's not what you do. Right. And so you see that there's a lot that needs to be done, and then and so I feel valued and I feel seen, because you're saying, what can I help you with the most? I just need this amount of time. And you're right. I'll go ahead and tell you what I would say. I would say, I'll go ahead and start on the house. You finish the podcast, because that has to be done, and then come help me when you're done. Okay. And then that is not, I feel good about that. and we've communicated, and so I'm not frustrated. And I think that that's a big deal. I think for years and years and years, and then it still happens every now and then, I'll get really frustrated and you have no idea why. It's because I haven't communicated with you, and I've expected you just to read my mind. Like, how can you not look around the house and see that I need your help with the dishes and the laundry and the because you can't read my mind, and a lot of that doesn't bother you as much as it bothers me.
So along with the expectations, this is the last thing I'm going to share. I think that it's really important for each one of you to understand the things that seem to be stress relievers, stress release in each other's lives. And you make sure that you allow for your spouse to have that time. So, for instance, if sometimes you just get really overwhelmed, and it's just really good if you go outside and take a walk around the block. That's not, you're not saying I'm running away from the chaos. It's just, I need a breather. So can you help me and give me space to take that breather? Now, I'm not saying that for you guys, man, what really is great for me is a 6-hour fishing trip. And so give me space and time for that 6-hour fishing trip. I'm not saying that. Now, it might be that you can carve out and you say to your spouse, hey, I really just need to get in the woods for a little bit. So maybe for an hour next Saturday or whatever.
Yeah.
And those are the things that you just are sensitive to each other to make sure you have time for. Same with just even your quiet time and spending time with God. You allow that for each other, and you don't make it something that's a burden because, you took an hour this morning to go on the back porch and read your Bible and spend time with God, and now look at all the stuff that has to be done. Those things are so important to take care of yourself. But again, you got to be a team. You got to communicate. You got to set realistic expectations, and you can't take advantage of those things.
Which goes back to the first point of living unselfishly.
That's right, unselfishly. So maybe this whole thing is really about unselfishness. All right, so hopefully you guys got some encouragement, some real life tips, some in the moment tips because you listen to what's happening in real life here.
That's right.
And from that, hopefully the next time chaos hits you, maybe you're in the middle of it, but you can navigate that well with your spouse. Yeah. So, hey guys, thanks for listening this week, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.
Peace.